is going to be an end of day video for, what day is today? Oh my God. This is going to be an end of day video for Monday. The crew was here. I believe Garth is out of town, but his crew was here, and we're going to go in and see what they got done. As you can see, all the bracing has been removed. The plywood taken off where it was structurally put on, at least on this floor. Looks like they still need to get to the slab-on-grade portion and continue. They've taken off all the planks off the bracing. We've got lots of screws on the floor. Yeah, a lot of work to take off those braces. And then, of course, the trusses were supposed to be delivered today, but I don't see them. We'll look, but it doesn't look like they're here. And it looks like they started, maybe they headed over the garage. Okay. Here's just a slow pass over the site, showing that the crew has already removed many of the braces off of this portion of the house. You can see our Berman ties there. And then one of the things that happened this week is we have the Bill's Equipment and Supply from Colorado Springs there. The starter went out on the telehandler, and they came out and replaced it promptly. And we appreciate their quick service and turnaround. This is just showing the Berman ties ready for the second floor trusses. Our framer, Garth with North Tech Contracting, originally wasn't convinced that the Bermans were the way to go, especially they have to be kind of carefully put in there with the element ties, but now he really likes them. He thinks they're pretty good, and he thinks that's a good way to go. And then the crew was there again, removing bracing, a lot of that plywood that we had there just to secure certain areas, and they went through and took care of that. And this is showing you towards the kitchen. This is what it's going to look like when we get the internal walls in, the fireplace, etc. And as we get further down in that slab-on-grade portion, you'll see the big door opening at the end and the window above it that has the bracing in the middle. This will be the guest bedroom, which will look like this. And that's what this area is. And here's the crew taking off all the plywood bracing that was put on extra. You know, one of the things for us that was a major decision for Peggy and I not doing as much of the ICF as we could have by ourselves was A, winter coming, and B, with the tariffs, we could not get the Zont and Zuckles. They were just way too expensive. Product only made in Canada. Would have made it, these braces that you see here are very heavy, and it would have been very difficult for she and I to try to move around by ourselves. And then here's Peggy. She wanted to tidy up the area, so she got it nice and clean. We think that if we leave a nice clean work site, others are going to treat it better as they come along. And here's just a quick look at what our sewer line looks like after it was completed with the backfill and compaction by the excavator. And here's just a quick look of the house from the rear and what it should look like when it's completed. I know it's a little hard to visualize sometimes, so I thought this might help. Let me know in the comments if you want to see more of those. It is Tuesday, end of day. Peggy, we had appointments in Colorado Springs this morning, so we were down there, and we came back to the site, not even really in work clothes, and just spent some time picking up nails and screws and cut pieces of rebar, that kind of thing. And Peggy swept the floor, and she's been picking up trash, and the crew's been organizing things, getting all the braces down, getting all the plywood that we use for bracing and reinforcement all piled up and ready to go for the next levels. So here I'll show you what they've done. Here we go. Looks similar to yesterday here. It'll look perhaps cleaner on the floor. And then the back patio. Let's walk into the great room. So here in the slab-on-grade portion looks quite a bit different just because they have all the bracing pulled down. As you can see here, the roof will continue up this way, and I think it meets, I don't know, 17 some feet up here. So this wall's got to be taller, where the roof trusses go up to there, and we're getting there. There's the courtyard. There's Peggy still working. The guys are heading out for the day. And we also got our trusses delivered today for the second floor. So ready to put the floor onto the second floor. As you can see, everything's kind of nice and neat and organized, which is the way Peggy and I like it. It drives us crazy when things are a mess. And that's it. That's the update for today. Tomorrow, Peggy and I should be here working on plumbing. The crew will be continuing to work on getting ready for the lumber package so they can do the ledger boards and start the second floor. And here you see Peggy and I starting to work on the greenhouse / shed and work on the Parge coat. So in order to do that, we had to get the dirt moved away from the bottom of the greenhouse. And the dirt was so hard, so frozen, so compacted that I had to use a jackhammer in order to do that. Of course, we sped this way up because not that exciting to watch, but hey, it is what it is, right? This is what we had to do, so this is what we're documenting. Peggy was a trooper, worked super hard. I think digging in the dirt, digging ditches is one of our favorite things. Ha! Just kidding. I'll show you what we just did, and then we'll record ourselves doing it on the other side. We just put the screen for the Parge coat on and used the little plastic washers and a couple screws to adhere it. We washed and cleaned it first. Well, first we did a dry rub to dry all the dirt off, and then we did a wet rub, and then we dried it off again to get it clean.
to have it. Now my eyes light up as we share the moment. The time has come for me to show you how it feels to hold the world together. The pain and joy it brings to have it all.
Not on today, but we are complete. We were going to try to get the Parge coat on today, but I don't think that's going to happen. But we are ready to Parge. Except for the very front, we're going to do that next. Yeah. So just need that little piece under the front door opening of the greenhouse/shed. Happy New Year's, everyone. 2026. It is Thursday. We are New Year's Day. We are here on site working. As usual, I forgot to turn on the camera and document what I did first thing this morning, which is working on the Parge coat applied to the greenhouse/shed. I'll set it up so you can see that in action. Hopefully it'll go smooth on the other side. But let me turn this around so you can see what I've done. So you can see right here, I have applied the Parge coat with the trowel right out of the bucket. No mixing required. This is the Tough 2 product. I'll show you that here in a moment. And then I've gone back through with a brush and just very lightly, giving it a little bit of a texture. That'll help the second coat. Here's where I left off, so I'll try to film this. Let me get over here to the product. This is not sponsored, but I'll show you the product nonetheless. This is the Tough 2 product. It is specifically made for ICF, going on to the foam itself or putting it onto the waterproof coating that you have applied to your ICF. This dries like a cement hard mixture so that if it goes below ground and above, so your siding should overlap on top of this. And then if you're weed whacking or shoveling or anything and you bump up into the building, where the idea is that you're not cutting into your foam, cutting into your waterproof membrane, you have a cement coating there going below ground.
All my life I've worked and toiled. I've breathed the land and sown the soil. I'll admit that everything I've done ain't right. I give it all to you tonight. Hold out your hands, I'll give you all I can. When the sun comes up and lights the morning, you'll find out what it means to have it all. Oh, 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 oh. Those who've come before me know how hard it is to let it go. It's a part of me, it's all I've got. I won, I lost, I loved, I fought. Hold out your hands, I'll give you all I can. When the sun comes up and lights the morning, you'll find out what it means to have it all. Oh, 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 oh. means to have it. Now my eyes light up as we share the moment. The time has come for me to show you how it feels to hold the world.
Okay, I just got done with the front. We had a little bit of unevenness where the concrete floor comes out and some of the stucco there. But I think it's going to need another coat of Parge after this dries completely. And of course our siding will go down over the top of this. And once it's fully dry and perhaps painted, oh, looks like my foot hit it there. I'll see if I can get the brush and correct that. That's it. That's the Parge coat. So just a quick video. I didn't do it while I was doing it because one hand. The company that did the waterproofing and the dimple board, you know, we made them come back and take the dimple board back all off and redid. I did the waterproofing down below and they recoated it with a second coat. But what they did is they had the dimple board going all the way up here to the windows, which meant that we couldn't do any waterproofing directly under the window, like here, right? We just want to clean that up and make sure that's really sealed. Same thing all the way around, like here. And so what we did is we loosened all of the holders, the screws and washers that were holding on the dimple board, and then we cut it back. Tried it with the grinder wheel with a cutting blade, and that just seemed like overkill and a little more risky, so ended up using just a razor knife to cut it back, and then screwed it all back on. So now we have the distance we need. The dirt, you know, is really only going to come up to about here, so we can put some type of Parge coat or metal flashing that comes down over the dimple board, and then we can go ahead and waterproof these corners. That's the idea. So we got one more side to do, and then we're going to hopefully switch to see if we can get the second coat of Parge coat on the greenhouse. It is Saturday, and I have been working on the bottom of these windows. This is yesterday. We cut back the dimple board, re-screwed it back in, and now I've gone through and cleaned up with the Blue Ames Max waterproof trowel-on product, and I have hit all of the bottom of the windows that previously had gaps. Okay, and then I shifted focus to the greenhouse shed, and I did the same thing here. I went all around every single window. Some of them had a little bit on it, but most of them did not, and got that done. And now I'm going to shift focus to the second coat on the Parge, the Parging. Peggy is off shopping with my daughter and granddaughter, so I told her really I could do plenty of things for me to do just by myself today, so she's off, and there we go. For the Parge coat and the second layer, I decided instead of just doing another straight layer, it was plenty strong enough. It just didn't look that great, so I wanted to use the texture, which worked great, I thought, for giving it some texture, covering up those lines that are still there as kind of a base layer, yet giving it that texture, kind of knocked down look, and that's what we went with for the Parge coat on the greenhouse. turned down the audio just because of the wind noise, but this is what we ended up with for the Parge coat texture. And if you stuck with us this long on this video, which isn't super exciting, but I'm going to put out a bonus video this week. That's my intent, where we start to put up the trusses and the second floor. If you could help us out by liking and subscribing, we would greatly appreciate it. We'll see you next time.